Hey, today we welcome in Oriole prospect Robert Neustrom, and what a year he had between a couple of levels. And Robert, I mean, these numbers are really strong, man. 790 OPS. You led all of Oriole minor leaguers in doubles, among the homer leaders, OPS. We can look up and down the board. You know, you started out at AA, AAA. It was almost about half and half, 60 some games for each. So when you look back now on what had to be a really great season for you individually and for some of the teams you're playing on too, what comes to mind? What did you like about your year?
Oh man, it was a lot of fun. That's the biggest thing. I had a lot of fun playing this year, and it came with when I do look back and reflect, it definitely came with its highs and its valleys too. Like everybody's baseball season, and you look back on that, with fondness. You look back on that with motivation, desire for the next year, and I couldn't be happier with how my year went. Starting in AA after the COVID year was huge. I didn't know what was going to happen going into the season after spring training, and I got that nod for AA, and I thought that was kind of big. That was imperative starting AA as opposed to high A, and then make my ultimate goal to reach AAA by the end of the year, and that happened. So I couldn't have done it without the help of the coaches, and, everybody along the way. But it's just been a really fun year.
One thing when you analyze your numbers, and I was looking at them the other day, a walk rate of 11, that's better than average. A strikeout rate of like 21 for a guy who hits a lot of extra base hits and power, that's pretty good too. So you're drawing some walks and you're putting the ball in play a lot. Are those stats important to you? Are those things you think about? That it's one thing to be a guy who can hit with power. It's another to be a guy who hits with power, and yet there's not a huge strikeout number there.
Right. Yeah. I guess I didn't really even know those percentages, but yeah, especially that walk rate, that's huge to me. One of the biggest adjustments to my approaches, I'd say halfway towards the year, was trying to walk more and, pretty much viewing a walk as a single. Let's say I went 0 for 2 in a game with 2 walks. I kind of looked at this 2 for 4, and, a lot of times you can look at that as a bad thing. And that walk rate to me is huge. And I think if you're walking a lot, your strikeout rate is going to be lower too, because you're swinging at good pitches, basically. So, yeah, I like those numbers.
The swing decisions we heard about so much on the farm this year. Is that where this all factors in for you?
Yeah, I would say that was kind of my starting point. Kind of focusing on those, harnessing in on them, and really getting an understanding of how it works and how it works in the game. Whatever count you're in, I don't know how much you know about the swing decisions, but obviously they can be pretty stressful at times in certain counts. So you have to be on your P's and Q's big time through each at bat. And it taught me a lot about hitting those swing decision scores. So that was something I placed a big emphasis on.
And talking to so many hitters and coaches this year, tell me if I essentially have the philosophy down. And it's, again, whittling a whole lot of complex stuff down to a few sentences. But to me, it comes out this way. Get a pitch you can do damage on and put your A swing on it at all times, whether the count's 2-0 or 0-2. Sometimes maybe you spit on that pitch on the corner. Maybe you get rung up, maybe you don't. But you need to get the one you can really drive.
I mean, you really nailed it there, Steve. Yeah, that's pretty much the philosophy. Swing at strikes, swing at strikes in your zone too. Like you mentioned, that pitch on the black, that pitch on the corner, you got to lay off that. And, some of these pitchers, they're throwing 2 seamers that start right down the middle, and then they end up on the black, or they're throwing a cutter the same way. You know what I mean? And it can be tough, but you just gotta trust your approach, trust your eyes, and if that ball's gonna end up on the black, do your best to lay off of it, no matter the count.
And you get feedback daily, correct, on how the swing decision you made a good decision here to take. Maybe you didn't make the best decision here with what you swung at.
Yeah, we do daily after each game. The analytics department did a really good job of getting those numbers out, within an hour or 2 of most games. So it was, for me, I like to look at them and, see which way I'm trending, which pitches I'm hitting well, in what zone. And yeah, I'd look at them, and they did a great job getting those out.
So you're getting a lot of feedback beyond just ball and strike in terms of what can be beneficial to you.
Yes, totally. Yeah, and that's really important as you move up, in my opinion.
So tell me about the beginning of the year at Bowie. Numbers outstanding. The team got off to that amazing start. What were the first few months like?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, if you whoever followed that Bowie team, you knew we were just winning games. It's like we didn't know how to lose, as Willie Yan would say. You know, say it's like we don't know how to lose, and that's just a good feeling. You know, and especially when you're going through the grind of a minor league season, to win games kind of keeps that energy rolling. It's kind of like a domino effect. You know, like why not? Let's just do this. Let's win each game. Let's play hard, and we played as a team too, which I thought was really fun. We always had each other's backs, and I think that was a big emphasis on that Bowie team was cheer for the guy next to you. Let's win the game. Tomorrow's always a new day if you had a bad game, and let's just win the game because if you're playing to win, usually the result is good. So it was just a lot of fun playing there.
Conversely, in the second half, now when you move up to AAA, they've already gotten off to a tough start. You know, it's not going to be postseason. They're not pushing for anything. Is it harder to play well under that circumstance? Or I guess obviously initially there's the newness and the excitement of I'm at AAA, man. This is go time for me.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily it was like harder to have that energy because that's the way I looked at it. What you said, the latter. I looked at it as, you know, this is AAA. This is a new experience. This is big boy baseball. And within my first week, I was able to see Connor Green get called up for his debut, and that really put it into perspective for me. You know, even though it wasn't me, it made me realize that I'm around this. I'm in this clubhouse. I'm a part of this shuttle. Basically, that's what AAA felt like. You know, I'm a part of this shuttle where, you know, if you make some noise, you never know what can happen. Your name can get called at any given day. And I can remember talking to Connor the day before that game, he got called up. He had no idea he was going to get called up. It was a total surprise. And so if that doesn't, you know, just explain baseball to a T, anything could happen. And when you're in AAA and you make some noise, anything could happen. You get called up the next day. And that's how I looked at it. You know, even though the team might not have been doing so well, I played to win. And I think a lot of guys played to win too because of that energy that kind of looms in the clubhouse.
Interesting. We're talking with Robert Neustrom, Oriole prospect here today. And so, Robert, later this fall, the Rule 5 and the 40-man roster and protection and all that. And for the first time, you're eligible to be taken in the Rule 5 draft. So maybe the Orioles are going to have to say, this kid had such a good year, we got to put him on the 40-man. Do you have any sense of any of that right now? Does the organization give you any feedback on how that could go in a few weeks?
To be honest, I don't really know a whole lot. And I know it's, you know, things are going to start to fall into place within a few weeks. Like you said, I think it's the deadline's like November 20th or something like that. But I guess the way I look at it, it would be great. You know, that was my goal this year. I knew it was my Rule 5 year, and I really wanted to have a good year. And I really wanted to make adjustments that would put me in a good position to get a fair shot to be put on the Rule 5 or whatever, you know what I mean, to make a 40-man. And, you know, at this point, it's out of my control. I'm happy with the season I've had. And I know going forward, I've learned a lot, and there's a lot of things I want to work on too. So if that happens, I'll be very happy.
Yes, for sure. And you certainly did your part. You put up the numbers, you put up the resume. Now it's up to the team to sort it all out. Let me ask you about a couple other things that are interesting to me to ask players from time to time. How do you deal with the pressures of the sport? As you said, you had a lot of fun this year. And we always see, even in my job, your job, there's so much going on sometimes. We need to remember to have the fun part of baseball because it is fun. It is fun. But it's also your living and your livelihood and your career. And hopefully you and every other player who's ever reached AAA hopes you make the big leagues and it sets your life up, you know, in so many wonderful ways. That's pressure within that. How do you compartmentalize all that and not make it become a burden?
I think the biggest thing is just having trust in yourself. You know, yeah, the unknown, obviously, for everybody can be scary, and especially when you're playing minor league baseball. It's there's a big drop off between success and not success in minor league baseball, right? And No, I always look at it like, if I could teleport back and talk to myself as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old who's throwing up wiffle balls to myself in the backyard, what would he say? And I think he'd be proud. I think he'd say, just work hard, have fun with it. And that's when you play your best. So I just choose to have fun. Obviously, there's a lot of grinds. There's a lot of things that go on at this level. And the most important thing is to have fun. And that's how I look at it. From the first inning to inning 9, I just want to lock in. Nothing else matters, and the only thing that matters is me seeing the baseball. So
Let's end on a high note here. And here's a high note. And I know you experienced this. I experienced from a media standpoint. When I went to places like Bowie and Aberdeen and Delmarva this year, I saw the passion of the players and the staff, the energy, the enthusiasm. It was real. This is not a media guy spinning something. It was there. Did you feel it? What is this togetherness, I guess, that's kind of permeating Birdland on the farm? Was it real? What did it mean for you?
yeah, I totally agree. It was real. When I was in Bowie for that first part, like I said, I went through my valleys. I was hitting seventh, eighth in the lineup, and things were just going tough for about a month, and I can remember going in and just being like, hey, like I need to see what I'm doing right. I need to see what I'm doing wrong. And like you said, you mentioned the coaches, you mentioned the managers down there at those levels, and they brought the energy every day. As a player, it's easy to feel like you're the only one going through the grind, realistically, the coaches are going through that same grind too, and especially at Double A, they're the ones with the families. Once you got up to Triple A, then you got players and stuff with families too. But they pushed us every day, every day. It was a grind. We worked hard, but at the end of the day, it made a lot of us way better. And I think that's that energy you're talking about. We were playing music on the field really loud, at 1 o'clock pregame, 1 o'clock, 6 hours before the game, right? And yeah, that's a grind. That's hard work. But at the end of the day, like if you want to accomplish something as exceptional as playing in the MLB, you gotta be putting in the hours, and you have to be putting in the focus. And they did a great job of keeping us going all year.
It's going to mean something for you young guys to want to play for each other and to have it take joy in the successes of your teammates, because that's the best teams in MLB. That's how it is for them.
100%. Yeah.
Well, Robert, man, you're a great guy. I think fans can see that, and you had a great year, man. So congrats on that, and appreciate you taking some time for us today.
Hey, thanks a lot, Steve. Appreciate you reaching out.